a new bike. I didn't know when this day would ever come. It's been over 2 years since I've been able to buy a new bike. So this is the way I started my YouTube channel years ago, is I would buy bikes from my local bike shop. I would test them for a year, do a bunch of reviews, sell them, go on to the next bike. Now, I do get some discounts from my local shop. I do get some support, some discounts from Niner in transition. However, I buy these bikes. Like, even though there's some discounts involved, bikes are expensive. Bikes are really expensive today. Everything's expensive. But I now have a new bike. Can you guess what it is? A couple hints. It's not a Niner. It's not a transition. Although the new Niner RKT9 just came out, and so I'm really going to try to get one. The question is when. I mean, I literally, like, I talk to my folks in the industry, my contacts, and they're just like, we don't know when we're getting stuff in. You guys know how it is. Who tried to get parts and bikes and everything like that. But I finally have a new bike, a new test bike. So this bike, I called my local bike shop. I've been eyeing this one because all right, I'm not going to tell you yet. It is a trail bike, not a Niner, not a transition. So I called my local bike shop and I said, hey, check and see if this bike's available. The guy's like, listen, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be about a year before I can get one of these bikes. I said, dude, just check, because I looked at the website and it looks like they're in. And he checked, and sure enough, one was available. So this is my new long-term test bike. Now, I'm going to do something that I usually don't do in my YouTube videos, and that is I'm just going to mention something that I have a Patreon account. So most of the bikes, I've only gotten 2 bikes that were given to me for a long-term review. I've had a few short-term demos, particularly Niner. Niner's really stepped up and sent me some demos that I sent back after a month or two. But for the most part, I buy these bikes. Again, I do reviews, and I like to do long-term reviews. Like, I don't like to just do a couple rides and then that's it. I like to do like a year and take the bike like all over the place. So if you are ever interested in supporting me through Patreon, again, I really don't mention this. I put it in the links or in the description, my Patreon link, but I never really talk about it. But anyway, if y'all anybody wants to throw in $1 or $2 a month to help support the channel, by all means, feel free to do so. All right, so this bike, Specialized Stumpjumper. I had one several years ago, loved the bike. They've made some tweaks, they've made some changes. So my bike, my trail bike for the last couple years, the best bike, all-around bike I've ever ridden, transition spur. Love the bike, still have it. However, I think this, and we're going to take it out of the box. I'm not going to do like my first look yet. That's going to be a separate video. This bike's 140 travel in the front, 130 in the back. I think that is probably the sweet spot for a mountain bike, for just all around. You're not underbiked, you're not overbiked in a lot of situations. It is the perfect amount of travel for a lot of people. Now, the transition spur, I've said so many good things about that bike. I'm not going to talk too much about it. However, that bike on paper, it looks like a cross-country bike, but when you ride it, it feels like an ultra lightweight trail bike. Slack head angle, 66-degree head angle, longer wheelbase, flexi frame that makes it feel like it has more travel than it does. But I just want to try a bike like this, 140 front, 130 back. And the SWAT box, when I had one of these years ago, I just loved that SWAT box. We'll go into that when I do the reviews on this bike, but long-term test bike, over 2 years since I've been able to do this. So super stoked. So let's get this thing out of the box. I'll just kind of show it as it comes out of the box. And then I'll do my first look where I really kind of go into all the components and everything like that. I'm not going to do that in this video. I don't want this one to be too long. So, all right, let's get the Stumpjumper out of the box. So this is it in the box. Sick color. This color, I don't think I've ever had a bike this color. So that's one thing I'm kind of excited about. All right, let's pull it out. All right, here we go. Whole thing feels pretty light. I'm actually really curious about the weight of this bike. Now let's put that dropper post in so I can put it in the work stand. It's a really sharp looking bike. So I want to go ahead at this point and give a thanks to my local bike shop, which is Super Cool Bike Shop. If you are in the area and looking for service, parts, bikes, they sell Specialized and most recently Giant. They just started carrying Giant. Check them out, Super Cool Bike Shop. You know, having a local shop that you can trust and order a whole bunch of stuff from, because if you're a mountain biker, you're just going to go through a bunch of stuff. Like I ordered my nutrition products through them, all my Hammer nutrition, any part I can get. I recently had to order a rear derailleur that they couldn't get for a long time, so I had to order it online. But having a local bike shop that you can trust, invaluable as a cyclist. So Super Cool Bike Shop, check them out if you are in this Gainesville, Florida area. Really good guys to deal with, and working with them for a really long time. So, God, I can't believe I'm doing this. A new bike. I haven't unboxed a bike. I almost forgot how to do it. Not really, but man, this is exciting. Ooh, this is good looking. SWAT box. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get everything off and then show you the bike. Now I gotta figure out which bike I'm gonna borrow the pedals from. I'm sorry, Mr. Spur. It's nothing personal. You're still my favorite. What is the most over-tightened component on a bicycle that I see? I'll give you a hint. It's a pedal. I see people crank down pedals so tight that they're almost impossible to get off. They don't have to be that tight. Just a little tip for you. Dropper post cable. It's like 2 feet too long. We'll be cutting that one. I think this bike comes with tubes in the tires, because I saw some valve stems in the box. Let's find out. I was right, tubes. I have 2 spares. You can carry tubes inside the frame, and it comes with a little sleeve that you can put the tubes in. I'll show that to you. So I will be converting these to tubeless. No fluid in the box, but it's all right. I've got tons of tire sealant. So Specialized includes this little sleeve, and I didn't know what this was when I first got a Stumpjumper a few years ago. I thought it was some kind of like chainstay protector, but this one's actually nicer. This one has a zipper, and so what you can do is you put the tube inside this, and then you put it up in the frame, so you have a spare just in case you get a flat. So that's really cool. This thing aired up as a tubeless tire, almost easier than any other tire I've ever done. I didn't have to use soap bubbles. I just put the valve stem in that they include, put in my sealant, and then hit it with air. And it's perfectly straight. So that's it. That took a while, actually. It was, you know, for the most part assembled, but I had to take out the tubes and run the cable for the dropper post, run the cable for the derailleur, take off the dork disc, and just get the seat post and everything set up. Have not finished setting up the suspension. I have not weighed it yet either. And center the brakes. The brakes were not centered. Actually, the front brake caliper was not even on the bike. But yeah, that is a really sweet looking bike. I'll follow this up with my first look of the bike, where we look at all the components. I'll talk about the build, talk about some of the geo numbers, all that. So hopefully this is a good sign that bikes are starting to become available. We'll find out if I can get that RKT9, the Niner RKT9. I'll start working on that in the next week or two, see if I can get my hands on that for my cross-country bike to replace my other RKT9 that I've had for like 3 or 4 years now. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Check out my channel for upcoming reviews on this bike. Thanks for watching.